HR has the opportunity to explain the why behind the work that the people do.
Thank you for checking out the HR Like a Boss video series. If it resonates with you, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing, as well as sharing it with a friend in the HR and business community. If you're into podcasts, please check out the full episode in the description below. I started my journey in trying to find as many amazingly awesome HR and business professionals as I could to talk with about their insights on what it takes to do HR like a boss. I'm using it in my hopes to be able to write a book with the same title. And on today's show, I am joined by an amazingly awesome guest, Dani Kimble. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, it's John Bernatovicz, and I'm continuing my journey of writing my book, HR Like a Boss, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Dani Kimble. She's the Chief Marketing Officer at O'Neill Insurance, and recently was awarded the Cleveland SHRM Member of the Year at a recent award ceremony, and I was nominated to chat with Dani in regards to a recommendation made by Chadwick Klein, who I know spoke very highly of her. So Dani, welcome, and how are you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. It's an honor to be here talking with you, and I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I certainly appreciate, and I know you've been a big part of some of the transition that Cleveland SHRM has gone through from an HR organization of branding itself and creating that community. And I'm assuming maybe I know the answer to the first question, which is what is the purpose of human resources based upon your passion about brand and marketing and culture. But how would you describe HR's primary responsibility within an organization?
Sure. Yeah, I'd say it's very similar to how you describe it a little bit, John. I had listened to your presentation, and connecting people to the organization's core purpose and mission is really, I think, one element of it. But another element of HR's purpose is to ensure that the people feel valued, that they feel cared for, that they feel loved in the workplace a little bit, and that they know that their work has meaning and purpose. I think explaining HR has the opportunity to explain the why behind the work that the people do, to give it real meaning and purpose. And that meaning and purpose aligns to the organization's mission and purpose. And when people feel fulfilled about the work that they do, they're better performers in the workplace, but they're also more satisfied with their jobs, more engaged, and you see it bleed into all areas of their life. So I think HR's impact in that purpose is really strong there.
So what makes you so passionate about culture? So you spent 10 years dancing, which I know there was a culture into that, right? The performance groups that you were in and just the different people that you experienced. Now you come in the corporate setting, mm-hmm. and you're trying to, what you think might be marketing out to the other kind of non-O'Neill Insurance employees. And then now all of a sudden, hey, wait a second, really one of my main jobs is to make sure this culture fits internally. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah. Oh, that's a really great question. I think growing into my career, I always worked for really good organizations. I always worked for good organizations. In the performing arts, you're an advocate, so you're naturally kind of passionate about the work that you're doing. But none of them had a very intentional, strategic culture plan, right? So good by the nature of the leadership, everything was good, but it wasn't. I wouldn't say, I think you need a defined culture plan to have a world-class organization. And so the more united and unified you can get your people around a core purpose, I think the stronger opportunity you have to not only enhance the employee engagement and job satisfaction, as I talked about earlier, but also to attract and retain talent. So there's a marketing aspect there to attract people into your organization, to retain them. High performers want to be around high performers. So how do you retain them to help them grow the business? And then that naturally just bleeds into, you have a lot of high performers rowing in the same direction, and naturally bleeds into the revenue and the sales of the organization. So I think the culture has to be at the core of the business strategy. And so that's what I love about it. It's like, man, you make that culture strong, you focus heavily on that culture, everything else is just naturally going to fall into place.
And having partnering with HR professionals within your group, as well as obviously getting to know people through Cleveland Sherman and your prior experience. What characteristics stood out to you of people that you thought got it, that were standout HR professionals?
Mm. I would say empathetic listening, getting to know your people and listening to your people really well is one of the strongest characteristics, and showing your people that you care about them, that you value them, is key. So empathetic listening was the big one for me, because when you're listening to people without the intention of thinking about what your response is going to be, and you're actively listening to them, it's showing them that you care about them, and that goes such a long way. And some of there's like skill sets that you can learn within empathetic listening, where you have some follow-up questions where they can go deeper into what your people are trying to tell you. I think if people in the workplace have an avenue or somebody that they can talk to that they know is truly listening to their needs and cares about them, there's so much value there. Have you ever heard of or listened to anything by Bob Chapman? He's the
I've not,
CEO.
no.
I wrote a quote down the other day. He says, but he focuses very similar to like treat your employees as their precious children. Um, and he said business could be the most powerful force of good in the world if they simply had the courage and the skill to care for the people they are leading.
Well, Dani, I'll get you out of here on this with the point blank question of how would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
I would say they are a champion for their people, and they fight for their people. They fight for a seat at the table at the leadership level, so that they can be a good champion for their people and have their people's voices be heard across the organization.
Yeah, I love that. An advocate for their people, and representing them from a cultural standpoint. And I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you were a little reluctant to do this when we first exchanged some communication, that you're not technically an HR person, but I would definitely say that you are. And I know if you ask anybody on the Cleveland SHRM board, you certainly are as well. And I know I really value the time that we spent together, Dani, and I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Well, thanks for having me, John. It's such an honor to be on. Like I said, I love the HR community. I've learned so much from everybody in SHRM and the people that I surround myself with here around HR and culture. And it's an honor to be on here. I'm excited to see your journey and continue to follow you.
Thank you for checking out today's video episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, as well as share with a friend. And until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.